Welcome to Learning Reframed, a leadership series exploring calm leadership, strategic clarity, and the systems that build high performance cultures. I'm Dr. Ken Feldman, and each episode we explore the practical disciplines that help leaders create clarity, stability, and meaningful progress in complex environments. If you find these conversations valuable, be sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who might benefit from our information. So let's get started. Learning doesn't fail because people lack effort. In fact, most people put a significant amount of effort into their learning. They try, they work, they stay engaged. But effort alone is just not enough because effort can be scattered, progress becomes inconsistent. Growth requires more than effort. It requires intention. And that's where a growth plan becomes so very important. When people think about planning, they often imagine something very complex, detailed, overstructured, and frankly, difficult to maintain. But the most effective growth plans are not complex. In fact, they're simple, they're clear, and most importantly, they're livable. A strong growth plan doesn't try to solve everything. It focuses on a few key questions. The first, what matters right now? Not everything, not long-term goals, just the current priority. Second, how will I engage with it? Where, when, and for how long, and what structure will support this? And third, what support do I need to accomplish this? What people, what resources, and what adjustments do I need to make in my environment? Fourth, how will I know it's working? What are the small signs of progress? Not perfection, progress. And finally, when will I reflect and adjust? Not because plans are fixed, plans evolve. I've seen this pattern so many times. People aiming for dramatic change, trying to do too much at once, and eventually they lose consistency. What works is different. A small number of priorities, clear structure, regular adjustment. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens through steady alignment over time. And perhaps most importantly, growth becomes sustainable when it fits into real life, not when it competes with it. So instead of asking, how do I do more? You need to ask, how do I make this manageable? So this week, let's choose one area of growth, just one. Let's define what matters, how you'll approach it, and what progress looks like. That's enough to begin because learning doesn't require perfection. It requires intention, it requires clarity, and consistency over time. Thanks for listening to Learning Reframed. If this episode was helpful, consider following the podcast and sharing it with someone who might benefit from our conversation. You could explore more leadership and learning insights, books, and writing at learningreframed.org. And remember, learning and leadership becomes clearer the more calmly and consistently we practice it. I'll see you next time.